Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. We'll get into today's mailbag in just a second, but first, you see that link? Subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Bears Now. Just hit that big red subscribe button. We cover the latest Bears news, rumors. We have mailbags on our weekly live shows, 2 o'clock, 4 Eastern. Don't miss it. That's why you should subscribe. I'm busting ass here getting videos up on the channel, so hit that sub button, and we'll go ahead and jump into our mailbag here. Alan Mack is first up. How about trading up for Justin Fields? Oh, boy. That's going to cost a lot. Hey, if he slips past 2, which Dane Brugler of The Athletic has Zach Wilson going number 2, maybe you consider it. But getting to the number 2 overall pick, that's going to be tough. I think the only scenario is if Fields slides on draft day. Jimmy Dean, loved the name. If the Bears can't get one of the top 4 quarterback prospects, like Justin Fields, who could they draft in the second round? So these are the top 4 guys, and I think for sure the top 3, but I think Lance is going to go pretty high as well. I think they all go in round 1. Trevor Lawrence, he's going to the Jets, unless he wants to go back to college to avoid the Jets. Justin Fields, I still have him as my number 2 guy. Zach Wilson, I've have him as my number 3 prospect, and now Trey Lance, North Dakota State, hadn't played much football this year, but I still think he's a first-round guy. These are really the 2 guys after that, and obviously these 2 guys could go back to school because this is a free year in college football. Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, we'll go ahead and show you their stats here as these are the next 2 guys. I think it's possible that one of these guys could slip into round 1, but if one of these guys are available in round 2, I'm certainly comfortable there. They've both have been fantastic this year. I like Trask a little bit more than Jones. I think he can make more throws overall, but Mac Jones throws a nice deep ball. They're both progressing pretty well. I'd be comfortable with these guys in round 2. Round 1, not so sure. Now, name a quarterback you want the Bears to draft. I just showed you the top 6. You got Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, maybe a couple of other names, Desmond Ridder. If you want a project like a Sam Ehlinger, I guess you could go that route, but let me know. Who do you want the Bears to draft at the quarterback position? You can reply to the pinned comment because that's where this question will be. Assyrian Comedy Central, Bears bring back Lovey as DC or get ideas from him. What ideas? Like, hey, Lovey, I know we fired you several years ago, but what do you think about the future of this franchise? That's not really how it works. I don't think he would come back as a DC. I think that would be kind of funky. I definitely think he'd come back as head coach, but if I'm the Bears, I would not go after Lovie Smith. He just got fired by Illinois. Obviously, I don't think he's much of a college coach. That was a weird fit. Not saying Lovie can't still coach. Do think he will probably be a DC or a defensive position coach in the NFL next season. I think the NFL's a better fit. I think the Bears and Lovie Smith, I think they've moved on. I don't think we're going to have a rekindling of that relationship. Mr. Renteria, should we release Robert Quinn? You can't release him until after 2021 without a major dead cap penalty. So you're stuck with him through next year. Now, I did read some rumblings that maybe Robert Quinn's dealing with a drop foot issue, and that's why he's had such a poor season. The timing's curious to me. Maybe they've been trying to keep it under wraps, and now that the season's almost over and they're like, oh, he's been really bad, they're releasing information. I don't know. All I know is Ryan Pace screwed this one up as well. $70 million for a guy who just has not been that good this season. You can't cut him until after 2021, though, so you're stuck with him next season. Austin Appleby named that quarterback. If Allen Robinson walks, should the Bears draft a wide receiver? I mean, I guess if you let him go, then yeah, you're probably going to have to draft one. But again, I would rather keep Allen Robinson because the guy's a beast. He's having an incredible season. Once again, just figure it out. Get him done. I mean, tag him at worst, right? Like, that'll piss him off, but at least you would keep him in Chicago for next season, or someone would have to trade for him. You can get something for him. I want to keep Allen Robinson in Chicago, but if that is not a possibility, then these are the top wide receiver prospects. Jamar Chase. I don't think you're going to be able to get him in round 1. I think he'll go top 10. Devontae Smith, Jaylen Waddle out of Alabama. Smith is having an incredible year. Waddle got injured, but he should be fine for next season. Rashod Batemen out of Minnesota is a good player. Rondale Moore, kind of a local kid. He's been banged up throughout his college career, but he's electric in open space. And then how about Kyle Pitts, who's technically a tight end, but basically he's just a way better Chase Claypool, if you guys have watched him at all this year for the Steelers. I think he can be a big slot in the NFL and just dominate. Look at these numbers for a college tight end. Only in 7 games, Yeah, Kyle Pitts is a beast. If you lose Allen Robinson, I would have no problem drafting him. But again, you guys know the drill. Spam the chat. Extend AR. Make it happen. I don't want to see. I don't want this. This back and forth crap anymore. Keep Allen Robinson in Chicago. All the guy does is put up big numbers. He doesn't have much of an ego either. A lot of these number one receivers, they have egos. OBJ is flamed out because of that. Extend AR. I better see it in the chat. I'm seeing a couple of them in the live chat on today's live video. But yeah, extend AR. Put it in the comments section. Curtis Watts, Lakers fan. Bring in Cam Newton. No. I'm out on Cam. He looked good earlier this year. Did get COVID, but since then has not been the same. I don't know if there's potential impact there. Maybe, maybe not. He just can't throw the ball, guys. I know. I'll say this. The Patriots' weapons are horrific. Probably the worst receiving core in the league. Has anyone heard of Damiere Byrd? Yeah, he's their number one receiver, and he's bad. So, look, if you want to work him out, fine, but Cam Newton is not a long-term answer. That's like trading for Nick Foles. It's not really solving your problems. NS Pittsburgh Line Rail fan, do you think the Bears can win the last 3 games to make the playoffs? Can they? Yes. Will they? Ask me next week. I think this week against the Vikings on the road will be very telling. Obviously, the Bears have played better football the past 2 weeks. If the defense plays like it did against Houston, they've got a shot because the offense has turned it around, and I think they obviously will win against Jacksonville in Week 16. This is the game, though. Minnesota, Week 15, then obviously Green Bay in Week 17. But you can't get to Week 17, you can't get to Week 16 unless you win this week. You're tied at 6-7 with the Vikings. Must win. You lose this game, you're done. So if you beat the Vikings, yeah, there's a chance. Could you imagine a scenario where in Week 17, the Bears have to win to make the playoffs, the Packers have to win to get the number 1 seed? And that's very possible. That would make for some great drama. It would be very interesting. Hopefully the Bears win this week to extend that possibility. Now get going with Bet Rivers. We've been telling you guys about these folks for about, 3 months now, the whole football season. Bet Rivers is the best sports betting partner we've ever had. Go to chatsports.com/betil. Go to chatsports.com/betin. IL for you Illinois folks, IN for you Indiana folks. You can get that 100% deposit bonus when you sign up. And here's the deal. You can sign up and deposit from anywhere, but they're an onshore betting group, so to actually place a bet, you must be in the state of Indiana or in the state of Illinois. So go to chatsports.com/betin if you're in Indiana. Go to chatsports.com/betil if you're in Illinois. Eddie Fleming, should the Bears trade up? If there's a quarterback you like enough, then yes. That's the one thing I'll defend Pace on, is trading up for Trubisky wasn't the problem. Trading up and not drafting Watson was the problem. You picked the wrong guy. Here's the thing. If you trade up, you got to connect. That's the thing. And that's how GMs get judged, fair or not. When you trade up in the NFL draft and make a pick and sacrifice future draft assets, you have to hit on that pick. And Pace missed. He took the wrong quarterback. So if you like a guy good enough and you think it's going to work, then yeah, do it. But just know there are repercussions if it doesn't work. Tejas Cat, how about Sam Darnold? Earlier in the year, I kind of liked this idea. I know the Jets and Adam Gase are a disaster. I think I'm out on Darnold, though. He has to take some blame for what has happened in New York. It has been so bad. He's regressed. He never has played that well, really, at any point in his career, but it's even gotten worse this year. I think I'm out on Darnold, guys. Like, if you want to bring him in to be a backup and maybe he shows you something, sure, but I just, I don't see it. I don't see it from Sam Darnold. Muhammad Tour, Khalil Mack for Tyler Lockett. Why? You already have A-Rob. Imagine letting Allen Robinson walk, okay? I'm going to walk you guys through this process. Imagine letting Allen Robinson walk and then trading your best defensive player for a lesser receiver than Allen Robinson. No. And if you keep Robinson, you're not trading for another receiver. So don't want to be too harsh, but yeah, I don't think that's very likely. Zeke the Freak, do you think Trevathan starts next season? He's played better down the stretch. They probably should have kept Kwiatkowski. They kept the wrong guy, but, that's the way it goes sometimes. Shout out Ryan Pace. I think as of now, he'd probably be penciled in as a starter, but you could maybe address linebacker in the offseason as well. I would guess you start him for one more year, and then you either cut or trade him for the last year of his contract. That's what I'll say. Now, will the Bears make the playoffs? Y for yes, N for no. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They are still alive. Got to win this week to keep those hopes alive. Y for yes, N for no. What do you think? Will the Bears make the playoffs this season? Go ahead and cast your votes. Old Bobby Johnson, who all should we re-sign this offseason? Already know, extend A-Rob. Yeah, obviously A-Rob for me is number one. I'm trying to think of some of the top free agents. I should have had that pulled up in front of me. Do you want to bring up a guy like Buster Screen back? Bears don't have a ton of free agents. I'm trying to think some of the other ones. I mean, they locked up Jackson, Eddie Jackson. You got Kyle Fuller under contract. Jalen Johnson's obviously a rookie. Cole Kmet's a rookie. Mooney's a rookie. Anthony Miller's got another year on his deal, I believe. I'd like to see Screen back for cheap. Obviously, Allen Robinson. If I'm missing some names, let me know in the live chat. But, yeah, I mean, they don't have a ton of major free agents. Double stunts. Why can't Nagy run the damn ball in the second half of any games? Is he allergic to it? They only run it less than 20 times. Well, Bill Lazor's calling plays now, so we can't blame Nagy for everything. I'm not going to complain about the game last week. I've seen people on Twitter, why won't they run the ball? They're up huge. Guys, they won 36-7. Like, they hadn't won a game in 56 days. Not going to complain about the offense after last week. I hear you, and David Montgomery's ran much better recently. I'd like to see him get more touches, but at the same time, hey, the offense is playing better. I can't complain too much. Marcus Lordy, pace to the president. Oh, hell no. And get a new GM realistically next year because the McCaskies like Pace. So let's promote Ryan Pace. Wow. That's where we are, eh? Ryan Pace isn't making good football decisions, so let's promote him to the spot and trust him to hire someone to make the football decisions. Next question. P Drinker, wow. Do you think the Bears will be in contention next year with new personnel? They're not far away. They might sneak into the playoffs this year. Had they not blown a couple of those games during the 6-game losing streak, Detroit, then the Bears would have a chance to make the playoffs this year. If they get the right quarterback and better offensive line play, I think the Bears can contend. Right now, they don't have that.